Welcome to the Colorado Crime Halloween Special, where every whisper carries a story and every shadow hides a secret. I'm Amanda.
And I am Kori.
Tonight, we'll explore tales that linger in the dark, filled with restless spirits, chilling encounters, and the mysteries that make your skin crawl. So, dim the lights, settle in, and prepare to uncover the secrets that lie just beyond the walls. Today's spooky episode is about the infamous serial killer H.H. Holmes. H.H. Holmes, whose real name was Herman Webster Mudgett, was an infamous American serial killer active in the late 19th century. He is often considered one of the first modern serial killers in the United States. Holmes is best known for his elaborate hotel in Chicago, often referred to as the Murder Castle, which he designed with hidden rooms, trapdoors, and soundproof chambers, allowing him to carry out his crimes undetected. He was convicted of multiple murders and is believed to have killed many more. His life and crimes have become a subject of fascination in popular culture, highlighting the darker aspects of human nature. Today, we are going to cover his life, the Murder Castle, his capture and trial, and finally, his legacy.
H.H. Holmes was born Herman Webster Mudgett on May 16, 1861, in Gilmanton, New Hampshire. He came from a relatively ordinary background. He was the third of 5 children in a well-off family. His father was a farmer and a local businessman. From a young age, Holmes showed signs of intelligence and ambition, excelling in school. However, his early life was marked by some darker tendencies. Reports suggest that he was involved in disturbing activities during his childhood, including a fascination with the dissection of animals. After completing high school, he attended the University of Vermont briefly, but transferred to the medical school at the University of Michigan, where he earned his degree in 1884.
H.H. Holmes received his medical degree from the University of Michigan in 1884. His medical training provided him with a deep understanding of anatomy and human behavior, which he later exploited in his criminal activities. Holmes's medical education gave him a comprehensive knowledge of the human body, which he utilized in his gruesome crimes. He understood how to inflict pain, cause death, and dispose of bodies in a way that would evade detection. His training also included pharmacology, which allowed him to use poisons and sedatives effectively. This knowledge aided his manipulative schemes, such as drugging victims. The skills he learned in medical school likely honed his ability to manipulate and deceive others. He could convincingly present himself as a trustworthy doctor, gaining the confidence of victims and accomplices alike. Holmes developed a charming and charismatic persona, traits that are often emphasized in medical training. This allowed him to draw people in and manipulate them for his own purposes. As a trained physician, he was able to exploit the inherent trust people placed in medical professionals. This made it easier for him to carry out his crimes without raising suspicions. Holmes's medical background not only equipped him with the tools necessary for his heinous acts, but also provided a facade of legitimacy that he used to his advantage.
The Murder Castle, officially known as Holmes Castle or the Holmes Hotel, was a hotel constructed by H.H. Holmes in Chicago, specifically designed to facilitate his criminal activities. Built in anticipation of the 1893 World's Fair, the hotel was a 3-story structure located at 63rd and Wallace Streets, featuring a unique and labyrinth design. The building's layout was intentionally confusing, with numerous secret passageways, hidden rooms, and trapdoors. This design was not only served to disorient victims, but also allowed Holmes to evade capture. Some rooms were soundproof, preventing screams from being heard, further facilitating Holmes' ability to commit his crimes undetected. He incorporated false doors and dead-end staircases, sort of like Sarah Winchester, making it easy for him to escape or hide evidence of his crimes. Certain rooms were equipped with gas lines and could be locked from the outside. These were often used to asphyxiate victims. Other areas included rooms with torture devices and chutes leading to the basement. The basement contained a dissection table and a crematory, where Holmes reportedly disposed of some victims' bodies. There were also acid vats and quicklime pits for body disposal. The hotel was marketed to fairgoers and was filled with rooms for rent, allowing Holmes to attract guests. Many of them vanished without a trace. The murder castle was a chilling manifestation of Holmes' psychopathy and ingenuity. While it was designed for profit, the true purpose has become a gruesome extension of Holmes' murderous intentions. The hotel has since become a symbol of his heinous crimes and the dark side of the 1893 World's Fair, representing a facade of opportunity that concealed a deeply sinister reality. We will go into more detail about the confusing layout of the murder castle.
The hotel included numerous secret rooms and hidden compartments. Many of these rooms were not apparent to guests. The design was intentionally labyrinthine, making navigation difficult and contributing to a sense of disorientation for anyone inside. Some rooms had trapdoors that led to hidden areas below. These were often used to dispose of bodies or hide victims. The trapdoors also provided Holmes with escape routes, enabling him to avoid detection after committing a crime. Certain rooms were constructed to be soundproof, ensuring that any screams or struggles would go unheard, allowing Holmes to carry out his acts without interruption. Some rooms were equipped with gas lines that Holmes could control. He would lure victims into these rooms and then use gas to asphyxiate them, often while locking the door from the outside. These bizarre and horrific features of the murder castle exemplified H. Holmes's cunning and depravity. The structure served not only as a hotel, but as a meticulously planned trap, reflecting the dark depths of his criminal mind.
The stories of the victims who vanished within the walls of H. Holmes' murder castle are haunting and tragic. While the exact number of victims remains unknown, here are some chilling accounts of those who disappeared. Anna Williams was a young woman who worked as a secretary for Holmes. She was last seen in 1892, shortly after she rejected Holmes' marriage proposal. She disappeared without a trace, and many believe she is one of his victims. Holmes had expressed his desire to possess her, and her sudden disappearance raised suspicion among those who knew her. Minnie Williams was Anna's sister, who also fell under Holmes's influence. After moving to Chicago and meeting Holmes, she was drawn into his web. In 1893, Minnie disappeared shortly after her sister, and her fate also remains a mystery. Holmes reportedly claimed to have married Minnie and used her connections to gain access to her family's wealth. Pearl and Lucy Connor were two young girls who disappeared after visiting the hotel with their father. They were last seen entering the building, and then their father later reported them missing. Their fate is unknown, but it is believed they may have fallen victim to Holmes' predatory nature. Emmeline Cigrand was a beautiful young woman who caught Holmes's eye. After becoming acquainted with him, she mysteriously vanished in 1892 as well. Her disappearance prompted concerns among her friends and family, but Holmes was able to deflect suspicion, claiming she had left town. Margaret O'Leary was a woman who checked into the hotel seeking employment. After she disappeared, her family tried to trace her steps but found no evidence of her whereabouts. It is suspected that she fell victim to Holmes's manipulative tactics, as he often lured women under the pretense of job offers. During the 1893 World's Fair, many visitors, particularly women, were reported missing. Holmes took advantage of the influx of people, preying on those who were unfamiliar with the city. Many of those individuals were never seen again, and it is believed that Holmes was responsible for several of their disappearances. These chilling stories reflect the dark legacy of the murder castle and the lives lost within its walls. Each victim represents a tragedy, often obscured by the mystery surrounding their disappearances. Holmes' ability to manipulate, charm, and deceive made him a terrifying figure. The true extent of his crimes may never be fully known. H. Holmes' capture and subsequent trial were pivotal moments in American criminal history, marked by the sensational details and media frenzy that captivated the nation.
Could you imagine?
No. Nope.
I mean, it's the late 1800s. This was kind of unprecedented. Aside from
Mhm.
like Jack the Ripper, this sort of stuff like didn't happen.
Mm-mm.
And imagine you're going to the fair and you just think
Right.
you're going to have a good time and
You're staying at this beautiful hotel.
beautiful hotel.
Mhm.
It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Holmes was arrested in 1894, largely due to a series of events unrelated to his murders. His criminal activities extended beyond murder. He was actually involved in insurance fraud. Holmes had taken out multiple policies on properties he owned, including the murder castle, which he intended to set on fire to collect the insurance money. His downfall began when he was apprehended for a horse theft in St. Louis, Missouri. While in custody, authorities discovered his connections to various missing persons, and his criminal background drew the attention of law enforcement, which I have to tell you a side story because I always joke that I'm like a full service realtor.
Mhm.
I'll sell it or I'll burn it down for you.
Oh, yeah.
I actually have to stop making that joke because
Yeah, you do.
I literally caught our toaster oven on fire. Like actual flames, and I thought, "Holy shit, I'm going to have to use the fire extinguisher." And anytime you use it now, it just goes up in flames.
Did you get rid of it?
No, no, it's still sitting on the counter in case I
You
come
wanna make
across a
toast?
mouse or a spider. It's not the spiders, it's really the snakes. A mouse or a snake, and this place is a goner. Kidding. In case you're listening, I'm not committing insurance fraud. But I did make that joke to my mom. I was like, "Listen, I'm full service. I'll sell it or I'll burn it to the ground." But I can't do that anymore because actually
You almost burnt your house
I
down.
almost burnt my own house to the ground.
Mm.
Anyway, following his arrest, the investigation into Holmes's activities intensified. Authorities began to connect him with numerous disappearances in Chicago. Investigators visited the murder castle, uncovering its horrifying features, including hidden rooms and evidence of foul play. They discovered remains buried in the basement, which confirmed their worst fears about Holmes's actions.
Holmes' trial began in 1895 and it quickly became a media sensation. Several factors contributed to the frenzy. The late 19th century saw a growing interest in crime and sensational stories. Holmes' alleged crimes fit perfectly into this trend. Newspapers across the country extensively covered the trial, with many detailing grisly aspects of the evidence and the gruesome nature of Holmes's crimes. The sensationalism attracted a wide audience, amplifying public interest. During the trial, Holmes exhibited a disarming charm, often appearing confident and articulate. This only heightened the intrigue surrounding him, as many were captivated by his persona. Witnesses, including relatives of the missing persons, shared harrowing stories, adding to the courtroom drama. The testimonies provided chilling insights into Holmes's manipulative nature and the impact of his crimes on their families. Holmes also employed various legal tactics, attempting to paint himself as a victim of circumstance. His defense argued that he was being falsely accused, but the overwhelming evidence against him made it difficult to refute.
On November 12th, 1895, Holmes was found guilty of murder and subsequently sentenced to death. He was executed by hanging on May 7th, 1896. The trial and its aftermath left a lasting impression on American society, influencing perception of crime and criminal psychology. Holmes's story continues to fascinate, and the sensationalism surrounding his trial marked one of the first instances of true crime capturing the public's imagination in America. His legacy as one of the country's first serial killers endures, serving as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath a charismatic facade.
Holmes's life and crimes have inspired numerous books, both fictional and non-fictional. Eric Larson's The Devil in the White City intertwines the story of Holmes with the 1893 World's Fair, showcasing his manipulative nature and the era's dark side. This book has rekindled interest in Holmes and raised awareness about his heinous acts. Holmes has also been depicted in various films and television shows, often emphasizing his charm juxtaposed with his brutality. Productions like American Horror Story, Hotel, and the film H.H. Holmes, America's First Serial Killer, dramatize his life and crimes, contributing to the mythos surrounding him. These portrayals often blend fact and fiction, making his story accessible and compelling to a wider audience. I've actually seen the America's First Serial Killer, and it's very interesting. Various documentaries, such as those on platforms like Netflix and Discovery Plus, have explored Holmes's crimes, delving into the psychology of serial killers and the intricacies of his operations. These documentaries often analyze the social context of his time, exploring themes of deception, manipulation, and the dark allure of crime.
We were also featured on Discovery Plus. Holmes not only displayed, but exemplified traits associated with psychopathy, including charm, manipulation, and lack of empathy. His case has provided valuable insight for psychologists studying criminal behavior and the characteristics that define serial killers. The exploration of his psyche has contributed to discussions about the nature of evil and the complexities of human behavior.
H.H. Holmes' legacy endures in popular culture and continues to influence modern understandings of criminal psychology and law enforcement. His story serves as a cautionary tale about the complexities of human nature and the potential for evil that can exist beneath a charming surface. As society grapples with the implication of his crimes, Holmes remains a compelling figure in the discussions of morality, crime, and justice. The murder castle was demolished in 1938. There was a fire as well, so it went into disrepair, or there was a fire in it. They ended up tearing it down. After H.H. Holmes was hanged in 1896 after his brief time in jail, the building fell into disrepair and was eventually abandoned. In the years leading up to its demolition, it became a site of curiosity and horror for those who knew of its dark history. The lot where the castle stood was cleared to make way for a new post office, erasing the remnants of Holmes' infamous crimes from the landscape.
After it was torn down, a post office was built on the land, which still serves the community today. But many employees and visitors have reported strange occurrences, unexplained noises, cold spots, and even sightings of ghostly figures. One postal worker recounted a chilling experience. While sorting mail late at night, they felt a sudden drop in temperature and heard footsteps echoing in the empty hall. When they turned around, there was no one there. Others have claimed to see a figure resembling Holmes himself, dressed in a dark suit, watching them from the corner of their eye before vanishing into thin air. So, what could be causing these hauntings? Some believe that the energy from the tragic events that took place in the murder castle has seeped into the ground, creating a residual haunting. Others think that Holmes's spirit may still be lingering, perhaps drawn to the site of his most notorious deeds. And that brings us to the end of today's chilling journey into the life of H.H. Holmes and the eerie legacy of the Inglewood Post Office.
As we've explored, Holmes was not just a criminal mastermind, but also a figure whose sinister actions left a haunting imprint on history. The murder castle, with its labyrinth of secrets and darkness, served as the perfect backdrop for his gruesome exploits. And now, standing where the castle once loomed, is the Inglewood Post Office, a building that carries the weight of its haunted past. It's fascinating to think that as people go on with their daily lives, sending letters and packages, they might be walking through a place that holds stories of tragedy and loss. The tales of ghostly apparitions and unexplained occurrences remind us that the past often lingers, even in the most unexpected places. As we close this chapter, we invite you to reflect on the fine line between history and the supernatural. What do you think about the legends surrounding the Inglewood Post Office? Do you believe in the spirits of Holmes's victims and that they still haunt the site?
We'll be back next week with another strange and unsettling tale. Until then, keep your wits about you, because you never know what mysteries are lurking in the shadows. Stay curious, everyone. And remember, not all mysteries have answers.
And podcast ends. Maybe some shouldn't.